Hey friends, this image is a scan from my 1996 journal and has a entry for the night that my stepfather first raped me. So it's possible that the date is off by one day, but according to my calendar, he raped me on May 11th, 1996. However, it's possible it might have been May 10th. And here's one of the things that was an issue in my court case. So my stepfather raped me. He raped me at least once, almost every week, sometimes multiple times a week. And he took me on lots of trips to lots of different places with him, like Army Reserve things and softball coaching things and all kinds of stuff. So there were a lot of different, I guess, incidents that we could have tried to charge him on. But for some reason, I'm assuming because we seem to have the best evidence, we tried to charge him for the very first time he raped me and for this time later on where he pulled off into the woods and some cops drove out and he tried to tell them that I had just needed to pee, but they were like, it's weird because you're only 15 minutes away from home. Guys, just so you know, if you ever hear that story, if you're only 15 minutes from home and they pull off down a fucking gravel road in the woods, please know that it's obvious that that child is being abused. I wish those officers would, have had some training to know something like that, because I mean, like, that right there, was probably like the most obvious opportunity for someone to see what was going on and to put a stop to it. But anyways, so when we get to court, we're trying to get him, we're trying to have enough evidence to prove that, he raped me on one or both of these 2 days. And we won one count, but we lost the one that was to do with the first day. And the reason that we lost the one that was to do with the first day is because I'm not sure which day it was that he raped me. I don't remember whether he came home after or before midnight. And it was probably before midnight, but I'm pretty sure it was after midnight when I went back to bed. So I wrote Nightmare About Died on May 11th. And I'm seriously wondering, it's just the matter of a few hours, like why did we lose that count in court? Like, that seems very understandable right there, that it may have been before midnight on May the 10th when he got home and he initiated things. But it would have been the next day in the early hours of the morning when I would have gone back to bed and have written in my journal. And guys, this is the first time that I'm making that connection right there. Because for the longest time, and I think this is still part of the story, is that I was in shock after the first time I was raped. I don't remember hardly anything from the entire week after that. And then after that, I started having memory issues. But what I do remember is that my ex-stepfather raped me the day before he was going on a cruise. Well, apparently, he went on a lake cruise the day before leaving for a Caribbean cruise. And so when I told them that he raped me the day before he went on a cruise, I guess that created some debate in the date. And once again, I still don't understand like if they had done their research to know that he had gone on 2 cruises, like a lake cruise and a Caribbean cruise, and maybe like come back to me, or someone else, or just been flexible, like in that language to understand that there were 2 things that were different but similar. This man destroyed a huge chunk of my life and left scars that have been on me a very long time. Yeah, I'm shaking that shit off now. But I'm pretty sure we had more than enough evidence to put this man behind bars for a very long time. And I just can't help but wonder how many fucking people in the legal system were in his fucking pocket to let him drag the thing out as long as he did, to get as light as a sentence as he did, to flee the country and be extradited back and still be released early from prison. Not to mention the fact that, a few years ago, after all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I started wondering, was my stepfather part of a sex ring? I actually wondered this when I was with COVID in 2020 in the hospital. Because I remembered that he liked to take me places and he liked to show me off. Like he'd take me, I wasn't even 16, and he'd take me to the comedy club. He'd take me to fancy hotels. He'd take me out to fancy dinners. He liked to take me shopping, have me model clothing, get my nails and my hair done and all of that bullshit, But, and there were a few times that he took me to a very rich neighborhood in Birmingham, Alabama. And he took me to a certain man's house who I do know the name of. And I remember playing with his daughters in the basement, and it was weird because it was a large house, and the basement was like mostly empty, and I don't know, there was just like a strange vibe about it. And there was a strange vibe about his daughters too, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. But eventually we left. I think we toured some other houses another time. But I think a short time after that, my stepfather took me out to dinner at like one of those country club type places, where we met this man. And I don't know, like I just sat there eating and probably like tuning everything out, like a good little, groomed zombie or whatever. But I remember when we got back in the car afterwards, my stepfather started bragging to me about how this man had offered him money to let him sleep with me. And my stepfather was bragging about the fact that he had, rejected this man's offer. He wasn't going to share me, that I was all his, like I'm this trophy that he's holding over this other man. And I never put this together until 2020 in the hospital. But if Dan was showing me off and that guy was like offering to help, to basically to like pay for me, he absolutely had to have been part of some fucking sex ring. So I don't know after all this time if there's anything that can be done about that. But man, if anybody like knows anything about that kind of stuff and would like to contact me, because when I first got out of the hospital in 2020 and I realized that, I was like, I'm pretty damn sure that I have enough fucking evidence to go after another couple of people, and like, can you go for a round 2? Like, if you didn't get charged on all counts and stuff. I mean, like, does anybody know? Because I really want to know, because I really wanted to do this in 2020. Because if there's a fucking sex ring out there and this man was a part of it, and this other man whose name I know, for all I know, he's still doing his thing wherever he's at. And I so want to say his names so freaking bad, but I want to wait and cover my legal bases first. But, if anyone wants to help support me in this project, I'd really appreciate that. Happy Sexual Assault Awareness Month, guys.